Welcome back, Markets Today, first day of September, and a happy new month to you. What are you doing in terms of your investments this week? At least for us, we are helping you understand and get a better understanding of the investment opportunities so that you can make the right choice. In studio with us virtually is Linda Kiraithe. She has just taken us through the banks and given us an option in terms of looking at UPS at the current levels, NCBA at the current levels. I hope you can be able to watch that part of the show. She's also told us that the CBK intervention in terms of the need for it to give concurrence before dividends are paid out could be a point of caution, especially if you have been trading banking stocks in Kenya, largely driven by the dividend payout. Now, let's switch over and see what is happening in some of these other sectors. Half-year numbers coming out from Bamburi, very good numbers. NSE, I think, was the best number that we saw there, up 386%. Nation Media not doing too well, as well as Jubilee. Perhaps, Linda, you can start us off by telling us, what is the general feel in the non-banking sector? What's happening with the financials that are coming out from that space?
Okay, generally, we have seen, due to the slowdown in the economy, revenues are coming down for all sectors. So this means that all businesses have been affected by the pandemic, and we expect to see this going forward so long as the pandemic persists. But we are hopeful of an economic recovery. We are hopeful that the government will be able to continue to open the economy slowly by slowly, therefore bringing about business activity to what it was before the pandemic, and so that we can see recovery in the top line for these companies. We can start with Bamburi, where their revenues also came down, given the slowdown in building and construction activities in the country since the onset of the pandemic. But we saw a positive on the bottom line, which was brought about by a tax credit. After the government announced the change of corporate tax from 30% to 25%. So they earned a tax credit on that, and this is what boosted the bottom line for them. So going forward, of course, while we expect the tax credit will continue to play in contribution to a better bottom line, of course, we expect the revenues will still remain subdued for now.
Okay, so maybe we can, so with Bamburi, what we also saw is in the last briefing by the Central Bank of Kenya, the governor, Dr. Patrick Njoroge, did say that there was a slight increment in terms of cement consumption and demand. However, when we look at the Bamburi numbers, the top line, which reflects the sales for the period, were down 13%. And as you have rightly put it, the profitability for this company was driven by a tax credit. When we're looking at Bamburi, it has come to a price point of 20 shillings. Should we buy it? Should we not pay attention? Is Bamburi going to benefit from the upside in the sector, or have the competitors in the space actually overtaken Bamburi in terms of its role, its significant role that it plays in the real estate sector?
Okay, I would say in terms of cement consumption, this has been driven by, we've seen the government take up some huge projects in road construction. So this is what has been boosting the cement consumption. But in terms of, I would say, retail consumption, that is in real estate, we have seen this come to a slowdown. So for real estate, I really do not see any recovery or I would say any sudden change, given the fact that right now there's even no money. People do not have money to purchase these housing units. So I would say for Bamburi, what their performance is really dependent on the government. So if the government were to take any large projects in construction, of course, this would be a boost to Bamburi going forward. But for now, I would say I don't see, apart from the ongoing construction on roads, the government is really not keen on taking large projects. We expected that you would extend the SGR to Kisumu, which has not happened. So I really do not, I would say at the current levels, I do not see any I would say, value in Bamburi. Really.
So no, we leave it for now. Okay, fair enough. That's a perfect answer. Now, let's have a look at the NSE, that's the Nairobi Securities Exchange. It does provide the platform that gives you access to trading stocks and bonds in the Kenyan capital market. markets. The numbers were up, I think, 386% for the period. What was happening there? Is it that people are trading more, it's earning more, or was it more of an operational expense adjustment?
So for NSE, it was about operational adjustments. We saw them do quite some staff rationalization that saw the operating expenses come down, and this is what boosted their bottom line. Given the fact that there was a slowdown in trading and the market, of course, their revenues will also continue to be affected by the current bear run. But as the economy recovers and as people get back to the market and as foreigners come back, of course, we expect to see improved numbers for the NSE.
Okay, so for the NSE, I think it's been trading between the 7.5 shillings, 7.5 shillings per share. Is there a value in buying it at this level for the long term?
I would say yeah. The current prices are good for coming into the NSE, given that, of course, with expected recovery in the bulls, which we'll know will happen. We just don't know when. We are uncertain of the timeline, but for the long term, NSE would be a good buy at the current levels.
Okay, fantastic. I have two more names there as we go through. Nation Media, of course, the media industry has not been able to withstand this particular environment, but perhaps you can help us understand what was happening with their numbers, what happened to their profits, and what should we look out for this particular sector?
So Nation Media reported a loss of about 300 million, and this was expected given the fact that with the business slowdown and most businesses cutting on costs, some of the costs that really they looked into were marketing costs. So we saw a decline in revenues on advertising, and this is expected to go on as businesses continue to rationalize on expenses. So I would say for Nation Media, this is not a good year for them, and they will continue to be highly affected given the fact that even before the onset of the pandemic, their revenues were coming down, given the fact that people no longer read paper, and the fact that the group has not really been able to tap into I would say the online marketing and or to be able to monetize their online products. So for Nation Media, I would say that this is a trend that we expect to see going forward into the end of the year.
So no, we are not buying this stock for now.
No.
Okay, fine. Then I have Jubilee there as well. What was interesting, it was the only stock that actually had paid out a dividend. That's up until today. I think earlier today we saw Kengen, but that's a conversation we can have later on. Maybe you can take us through what's happening in Jubilee, especially because we did see the Britam numbers come out. We saw CIC, those numbers were adverse, but there was some slight growth with Jubilee. What happened for this counter?
I would say Jubilee has been a cash-rich insurance firm for a long time, and their efficiency and their I would say their resilience has been reflected in their books. We saw the gross premiums come up a bit, but and also their claims, but the group reported that we received lower claims on health, which was expected given the fact that on the onset of the pandemics, there was a time where people were afraid to go to hospital. So this has been this was as expected. So for Jubilee, what stands out is that they've been able to, I would say, to have their business remain resilient in terms of claim payment, in terms of collection of premiums. But we expected to see them just like their competitors. They will be affected by the fact that there are going to be lower investment returns in terms of investments for equities and because of lower yields on government securities. Okay. So, but Jubilee remains, I would say, the stable and a good investment in the insurance industry.
Okay, so I think we're coming to the tail end of this conversation. We have looked at the banks, we've looked at the non-banking sector. Now, Linda, I know you interact with investors each and every single day, local, foreign, retail, institutional. You also interact with these companies that are reporting. What is your sense today when you look at the capital markets in Kenya? Do we put money in the stock market? Do we hold on to cash? And are there some stock picks that actually bust out at you in terms of there's value here, but you're not paying attention? You must and absolutely have to look at this.
So I would say yes, there's value. There remains value because for most of these companies, they still remain fundamentally sound. So the current prices are not really a reflection of the individual companies and their earnings and their books. So it's just that there has been so much happening in the economy. A pandemic is not something that anyone foresaw coming into 2020. So I would say going forward, there still remains value in these counters. And investors are just as the companies are, everyone is hopeful of a recovery. And as we wait out to see what happens with the pandemic, of course, it will be good to take advantage of the low valuations, given
Okay, so we have
that
low.
most counters are trading below historical valuations.
Okay, Linda, you have to leave me with at least a number or two. I can see you're also dressed out in yellow. You're excited about September. What's the one or two stock names that will help us make money? Even a 10% return in the month of September is an amazing return. Where can you actually guide us to? I mean, of course, we have to do a bit more work, but what stands out? Where should we put our money this month of September?
I will give one sure bet,
Okay.
the one that I'm sure of. I would say Safaricom.
Wow.
We've seen a rally on Safaricom the previous week, and I would expect this to continue. They're about to release their half-year numbers. So I would say to make money in September, you could bet on Safaricom.
So Safaricom is something to look out for. And does this price point actually consider the just ended record date for the dividend that they issued for the last financial year?
Yes, the dividend has been reflected. The rally was brought about by the fact that investors were really keen on taking up a dividend in Safaricom.
Okay.
So, and I would say Safaricom is a stable counter, and I believe in their half year they'll be able to give an interim. I don't think they will really be affected by the pandemic. So I would say this is why Safaricom remains like a sure bet in the market.
Okay.
And the fact that
So Safaricom is something that you want to look out for in this.
Foreigners who are still trading still have interest in Safaricom.
Okay, thank you so much, Linda, for your time this afternoon. We have learned absolutely so much from you. We hope to have you again on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Linda Kiraitha. She is a senior analyst at AIBAXYS, and she was taking us through the tenets of what's happening with the bank sector and the non-bank sector. And as you can see, it's the first of the month. We are all dressed in colorful colors. We're not only hopeful, we actually want to make some money. And some of the names that we've had in our show today: Safaricom. Yes, they did close their books yesterday in as far as the dividend is concerned, but you can be assured of making a good return in the month of September. If nothing else, because of the demand that we expect to come back into the market from the foreign investors. We've talked about NCBA at the level of 23. Maybe there's a bit of work that you can do there in terms of understanding the numbers. There could be an opportunity there. We've also talked about APSA, which is trading at about 9.3, 9.5 shillings per share. There could be another possibility of a short-term opportunity for you there. Where are you watching us from? What do you want to know about investments? Please send us an SMS. That's 20146. If you are on the social media space, send us something. That's Metropole TV, or you could reach out to me directly, Mbithe Mwema, on all social media platforms. When we start the show again tomorrow, we will take the first part of the segment to answer you, and that's the Ask Mbithe platform, where we answer all of your investment questions. However, if you won't be able to be part of that, I do encourage you to come for the show. We will be engaging with Safaricom. They have a special product for women in business, but we want to understand M-Pesa, what has its contribution been for businesses? How does it make businesses better? And always remember, when we have this side chats, we're always trying to understand the investment case of the bigger group, which is Safaricom. I hope to see you then. Have a good afternoon and certainly a happy new month to you. God bless you and all the best. Let's make some money. #markets today. Good afternoon.